Hi everyone, this is Sabrina Truscott with Abundant Entrepreneur, and today I'm really excited to bring my super good friend, Cade, to meet you. And the reason that I really wanted Chris to share some of his insights with you is this man is so full of integrity and his family values and his commitment to being a dad and the way that he's been able to structure his business and time freedom around being a single full-time father. And every time I see you posting on Facebook, you're at karate classes with your son, he's at acting classes, he's picking him up from school. I just see that you have this amazing relationship. And at the same time, he's an extremely successful, abundant entrepreneur in the spiritual personal development space. So I'd love for you to share, how are you able to do that? How do you have so much free time and still be able to be the dad that you are?
Well, it started when I was in the corporate world, and I knew eventually I was building this business as a part-time hobby, basically. In my spare time, I'd daytime do my full-time job, evening spend time with the family, and then after they went to bed, I would then build my business. And I started that for a few years until finally I said, okay, I want to serve in a much larger way. This is important to me. My heart was in it, and I finally had that courage and confidence. So I decided to leave the corporate world and build my business full-time. I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know how I was honestly going to generate the income, but I knew I wanted to do this. And I knew I had about 2 years worth of runway between what I had saved up from the corporate world, from severance pay, and from what little income I had coming in from my business. And then over time, the right resources came into play. Working hard, I could devote myself full-time to the business instead. And that led me down that path and eventually became, a single father. And in that journey was probably the greatest challenge of being an entrepreneur, because I had to find now work and life balance in a way I never had before. Before I could do all this work, and it was great to run and build my business. But then I reached a point where I couldn't do that anymore. My son needed my attention in a way that was, for me, felt important. Yes, I could have gone the route of getting more other people to take care of and do things to grow my business even further than it has. But what I wanted to do was to be there to take him to school and so on. So now it's really a lot of structure. So in the morning I wake up at 6 a.m., I meditate. Then his alarm goes off 30 minutes later, and I get him up, get him ready for school, get him off to school. Then I work for a few hours while he's gone, do the most important tasks that I can. I don't have a lot of time to mess around, but I do the things that make a difference.
And the meditation probably helps you with that focus and productivity on what needs to be done rather than all the other stuff we can find ourselves doing.
And it grounds me as well. It gives me that centering to start the day with. And I find when I meditate in the morning, my days go much smoother. And when I don't, there's a little bit of edge there.
Absolutely. When you said a few minutes ago that when you were able to totally quit your full-time business, so I had a line of work and a job and did the same thing as you, started to go online during those extra times until I was able to fully transition over, which is just one way to do it. Well, what were those first steps that you took when you said you were starting to try to have an online business? What was that? Like the first 3 steps for a newbie that's trying to model what you did?
First one is set the intention. Really set the intention, because I wasn't fully prepared for that. So I literally gave my employer a 1-year notice. Okay, and it's nice for them in the corporate world. They don't need their year's notice. I needed a year's notice so that I could get myself emotionally aligned, prepared, and know that I'm going to be taken care of in those resources and put that forth. So it was that intention that didn't just say, I want to do this. It says, I'm going to do this, and I made myself externally accountable.
You said it out loud.
Out loud to the person who I'm dependent on for my livelihood. Not just a random person, not to belittle a spouse or family members, but when it's close to the vest, it's easier to kind of have a little bit of failure room and be like, well, I didn't go for it, it's okay, it didn't happen. But when I'm telling the person who is making my paychecks that I'm going to leave and I'm going to do it for this uncertain path, as it seems, of entrepreneurship, it's cemented in me like, this is real. this is not just an idea, it's not just a hope or a dream or a want. This is going to happen, and I've put it out there. So the first step is absolutely put the intention out there and do it in a vocal way where you can be accountable for it. Even if it's not, leaving in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, just like, I'm going to do this.
There's something about speaking it and writing it. And I know that there's been times in my life that I kept those things to myself because if I didn't do them, I didn't want to look bad.
Right.
And I practiced that more and more. Say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try it. I'm interested in this. Don't be afraid to shout it out because the universe is listening.
Yes.
Right? And if we're not saying that, then maybe we're saying the other.
Yeah.
We're always saying something. We can't be quiet even if we want to.
Right. Inaction is still saying exactly that we're satisfied with the status quo. We'll stay comfortable in whatever limitation we have and in whatever fear we have. We'll stay there if we're going to stay quiet.
Right.
So the second thing, as you're asking, is that to actually find mentors. Find people who have done it before. This is something my dad taught me when I was young. He would teach me how to set goals. And he'd say, whatever goal you want, set the goal, map it out, and then he would say, if there's anything I can do to help you get there, then I'll do it. But, I have to do the work. Oh, he was amazing. He would make me do the work. But if there was a genuine blockage that I, as a 10-year-old or whatever, couldn't complete, he would try and clear that for me so that I keep going. And I got in my head, and he always said, find people who have done what you want to do, and study with them, mentor with them, and if you can't do that, hire them. Find a way to have the best of the best on your team to do what you want. And that's what I did all throughout my life. That's why I had so many successes. And when I went into the online world, again, I was consuming programs, audiobooks. And the biggest thing that made a difference for me wasn't, it's like I'd have like $10 audiobooks and ebooks that I'd buy, and they helped, and they got me in the right direction, helped change my mindset. But it wasn't until I invested in Jeff Walker's product launch formula, $2,000 product. And I remember I couldn't sleep the night before. I was nervous. I'm like,
About buying it?
About buying it. I was like, I know I'm supposed to, but I can't. I don't want to do this. And I talked to my wife at the time, and she's like, you got to do this. This is what you're supposed to do. And I was so scared for so many reasons. One was I'd never spent that much on anything. That's like half of a car for some people, right? And a cheap car, no less. That's like months, a couple months of rent, 3 or 4 months rent, depending on where you live. That's not a small chunk of change. And so even though I was successful in the corporate world, that was a large chunk of my salary. And I was scared financially, but I was also scared, and I didn't see this until later, deep down, what if I succeed? What if I change this life that I'm living? Like, I didn't know what a life of entrepreneurship could or would look like. I knew the comfort, safety, and the limitations of the corporate job I had. And even though it was comfortable and safe, that's what had some uncertainty into doing this, but I knew I had to. And so overnight I couldn't sleep, but as soon as the buy button was available, I was like, I didn't watch any sales videos, I didn't even read the page. I'm just like, I'm buying that right now. And I got it. I implemented it.
Well, you took action. First you said it out loud.
Yes.
And then you took a big action.
Right. Exactly. And specifically found mentors. I think that's key, because if we're taking the wrong actions, it's useless. No matter how divinely guided we are, if the divine is saying, here's the action to take, and we're going, oh no, you don't know, let me do it this other way on my own, we're not accepting that support. Similarly, with programs and resources and coaches and mentors, it's so imperative that we find people who walk the path we want to walk and follow them.
We actually met. I met Chris at a mastermind with our peers and mentors. It was actually at Glenn and Natalie Ledwell's event in 2010.
Yeah, that's right. And if it weren't for that, we would not be here talking today.
Yeah, and I tell you, honestly, most of my really best friends that I feel understand my heart and my passion and the way that I want to connect with my customers, with my clients, the way I truly want to teach and share, I have met in this community. There is such a support in the online world of people who want to share their passion. Tell us about, because there's one thing I really love and respect about you, one of the many things, is the way that you value your clients, your students, your customers, the way you speak of them with such respect. What do you get out of that, and what does that mean for you?
Well, first of all, I refer to them as my audience, because that's the best description I can use. A lot of people say my list, my subscribers, my clients, my customers.
Right.
But I say audience because I think, what I'm doing is I'm sharing myself and sharing what I've learned along the journey, and there are people to witness that.
Yeah.
And that's where I think of in terms of audience. And so these are people along the journey with me. And I think it's easy to get lost in thinking that, either the teachers are gurus and super powerful and we could never be that, and who am I to teach? Or we can go the other way, and just be like, try and stay quiet and hide and not let our light shine. And I think, for me, it's that balance of seeing that these are people who I'm serving and who have walked paths, important paths. They may not have walked my path, but they're walking a path that resonates with mine, and that I have something to share with them about my path, but they also have things to share about their paths with me. And so, I get emails all the time from people sharing their stories and, what they're grateful for, what they've learned. When I share about my life, they have insights for me from their own experience. When I was going through a really painful time in my life, I wrote about it. I said, look, I'm going through a difficult time, and I need support. And those people, my audience, they wrote back to me, and they said, we've got your back. We care about you. Thank you. We support you. Those who had things like energy healing, they would do that for me. Like, even when I wasn't there, they're like, I'm just going to send it to you at 5:00 on Thursday or whatever it was, and that outpouring of love back to me is just evidence of why I love what I do, because it's about touching people, making a difference, and knowing that I've touched people in such a way that they want to have that ripple effect and give it out, whether it's to me or other people. I still remember this one story. I had a spiritual stories website. I still have it. But this one woman wrote to me, and she said, I was at church the other day, and, my daughter had been trying to introduce her to spirituality and share your stories with her, and she just wasn't interested in it. Like, she just wouldn't take. But I was at church the other day, and my daughter comes up with a story that was from your website that another person in the congregation had given her. And it was like this other circulation. Another subscriber said how she would print things out and send them to people in prison, her son in prison, because he couldn't have access any other way. So it's stories like that really remind me, the why of what I do, because it's not just about this person in front of me. There is a ripple effect that when I change you, you change everyone around you. And so that really, that lights me up and keeps me going and reminds me, and those stories, I love them. And one thing I find important in my journey is to always be touching bases with my audience, with the people who read my emails, even though I have an assistant who helps me read, those emails and filter through customer support requests and download problems and things that don't really need my personal attention. I still log in several times a week and just read those emails, see how people are responding, see what they're connecting with, and reply myself.
Well, that makes such a deeper relationship and connection with you. And that to me is also very rewarding. If you're just at a corporation and you're doing your job like you did before, you know that you're the product of service of the corporation is touching people. But when you have your own online business or your own products, and they're actually speaking back to you, they might be your Facebook friends. That we're just real people, and they're just real people. And I think the greatest thing is, as we both love to experience, we're all one. There's only this oneness. So when I help you, you help me, and we help everyone. And that I love that every single person is so uniquely them. And their message and their words can never come through anyone else. And so everyone has something to share. And what you have to share that you think is just, oh, everyone knows that. No, they might not. And someone may need to hear exactly what you have to share in the way that you share it. And that's what I love about everyone in this online community, is that they are sharing their messages in their own unique ways, and it's not perfect.
Yeah.
And you get to, it's that raw, tangible, inspiring message rather than the raw reality TV shows that the messages
that
are
edited and refined. And,
oh boy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that was a lot of great tips for how somebody is going to get started online and what you think the most 3 important things are.
Yeah.
Can you recap those 3 things for us?
Yeah. So the first one is just set the intention.
Set the intention.
Be clear and get that intention out into the world.
Oh, speak it.
Yeah, speak it. It's not just setting the intention, but you're right. Speak the intention.
Speak, say, right.
And to someone who is accountable, instead of just your close circle, be a little more vocal about it.
Mm-hmm. Like if you're having dinner and the waiter comes over, you say, "I'd like a Coke," and I'm going to be an abundant entrepreneur.
You know what? That actually is, even though we're joking about it,
yeah.
that would be awesome.
Would be.
Because it puts that energy out and it makes it a little more playful, which allows the aliveness to come forth and the energy to move. It's not just this stuck serious thing, I'm going to be an abundant entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It really has some aliveness to it. So yeah, speak it out loud and speak it frequently. I mean, it's a great thing when you actually are really programming your brain to go for it.
Yes.
The second thing is to get a good mentor or several mentors. Find people who have done what you want to do and can take you there, okay? Who can coach you, who will watch you, who, even if it's a digital product that you buy, find someone who knows the path.
Yes.
And has mapped it out so that you can do that.
Right.
And then the third step is actually do it, right?
Yes.
It does no good to speak the intention and to get the mentors if you're not going to do what they say and walk that path. Because if you do those 3 things, the universe, as Paulo Coelho says, will conspire in your favor. It always does. I can't tell you the number of magical synchronicities that happened in my life. As soon as I said, I'm going to do this, the right resources came in, the right products, programs, mentors. Yeah. I mean, it's been magic. People like you walk into my life, and we wouldn't be here now if it weren't for me setting that intention, speaking it out loud, finding mentors, and then taking action.
Yes.
So yeah, those are the 3.
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come and chat and
You're
help
welcome.
us inspire the abundant entrepreneur in you. And I want to end this video with a quote that I think you'll really love by our good friend Joe Vitale. And Joe Vitale, he likes to say that a good goal will scare you a little and inspire you a lot. So I hope this video has inspired you. And until next time, be abundant.